Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. And what Alice found there. Found 3. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, first published in 1865. Contents: Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, Down the Rabbit Hole, The Pool of Tears, Checker's Race and a Long Tail, The Rabbit Stand in Littleville, Advice from a Caterpillar, Pig and Pepper, A Mad Tea Party, The Queen's Croquet Ground, The Mock Turtle's Story, The Lobster Quadrant, Who Stole the Tart, Alice's Evidence, An Easter greeting to every child who loves Alice, Christmas greeting from a fairy to a child. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Chapter 1. Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peered into a book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversation in it. And what's the use of a book, thought Alice, without picture or conversation? So she was considering in her own mind as well as she could, for the hot day made her feel very sleepy and stupid, whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her. There was nothing too very remarkable in that, nor did Alice think it so very much out of the way to hear the rabbit said to itself, oh dear, I shall be too late." And she thought it over afterward. It occurred to her that she ought to have wondered at this, but at the time it all seemed quite natural. But when the rabbit actually took a watch out of a waistcoat pocket and looked at it, and then hurried on, Alice started to her feet, for it flashed across her mind that she had never before seen a rabbit with either a waistcoat pocket or a watch to take out of it, and burning with curiosity, she ran across the field after it, and fortunately was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. In another moment down went Alice after it, never once considering how in the world she was to get out again. The rabbit hole went straight one like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped suddenly down and suddenly there. Alice had not a moment to think about stopping herself before she found herself falling down a very deep well. Either the well was very deep or she fell very slowly, for she had plenty of time as she went down to look about her and to wonder what was going to happen next. First, she tried to look down and make out what she was coming to, but it was too dark to see anything. Then she looked at the side of the well and noticed that she was filled with cupboards and pictures hung upon pegs. She took down a jar from one of the shelves of she passed. It was labeled orange marmalade, but to her great disappointment, it was empty. She did not like to drop the jar and fear of killing somebody, so managed to put it into one of the cupboards as she fell fast. Well, thought Alice to herself, after such a fall at this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they'll all think me at home. Why, I wouldn't say anything about it, even if I fell off the top of the house, which was very likely true. Down, 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 would the fall never come to an end? I wonder how many miles I've fallen by this time. She said all aloud. I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth. Let me see. That would be 4,000 miles down, I think. For you see, Alice had learned several things of this sort in his lesson in the schoolroom, and though this was not a very good opportunity for showing off her knowledge, as there was no one to listen to her, still it was good practice to say it over. Yes, that's about the right distance, but then I wonder what latitude or longitude I've got two. Alice had no idea what longitude was, or latitude was, or longitude either, but so they were nice grand words to say. Presently she began again. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth, how funny it seemed to come out among the people that walk with their heads downwards. Antipathics, I think. She was rather glad there was no one listening this time, as it didn't sound at all the right word. But I still have to ask them that the name of the country is, please ma'am, is this New Zealand or Australia? And she tried to country as the spoke, fancy, courtesy as you are falling through the air. Do you think you could manage it? And what an ignorant little girl she'll think me for asking. No, it'll never do to ask. Perhaps I shall see it written up somewhere. Down, down, down. There was nothing else to do. So Alice soon began talking again. Donald'll miss me very much tonight, I should think. Nina was the cat. I hope they remember her sauce of mijkor at tea time. Dina, my dear, I wish you were down here with me. There are no mice in the air, I'm afraid, but you might catch bat. And that's very like a mouse, But to catch it bat, I wonder. And here Alice began to get rather sleepy and went on saying to herself, in a dreamy sort of way, to catch it bat, and sometime to bat it cat. For you see, she couldn't answer either question. It didn't much matter which way she put it. She felt that she was dozing off and had just begun to dream that she was walking hand in hand with Dina and saying to her very earnestly, "Now, Dina, tell me the truth. Did you ever eat a bat?" And suddenly, thump, thump, down she came upon a heap of sticks and dry leaves, and the fall was over. Alice was not a bit hurt, and Tim jumped up onto her feet in a moment. She looked up, but it was all dark overhead. Before her was another long passage, and the white rabbit was still in sight, hurrying down. There was not a moment to be lost. Away went Alice like the wind. and was just in time to hear it say, as he turned the corner, "Oh, my ear and whisker, how late it's getting." She was close behind it when she turned the corner, but the rabbit was no longer to be seen. She found herself in a long, low hall, which was lit up by a row of lamps hanging from the roof. There were doors all around the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever to get out again. Suddenly, she came upon a little three-legged table, all made of solid glass. There was nothing on it except a tiny golden key, and Alice's first thought was that it might belong to one of the doors of the hall, but either the locks were too large or the key was too small. But at any rate, it would not open any of them. However, on the second time round, she came upon a low curtain she had not noticed before, and behind it was a little door about 15 inches high. She tried the little golden key in the lock, and to her great delight, it fitted.